Welcome to the Queer Witch Project, your resource for all things queer and witchy. I am Damona Peacock, a fabulous, non-binary, neurospicy, ordained queerdo with a fascination for all things cycle, symbolism, and patterns.
And I'm Moon Kitty, your queer femme, poly kitchen witch, and proud geek. Today's topic is the magic of music. Something so dear to both of our hearts.
Seriously, this
Very, very
is
excited about this.
I want to talk about music. Let's talk about, and I can't even really call myself a musician, just a
hmm
deep purveyor and appreciator
hmm
of music.
Absolutely.
And it makes my brain happy. So I would love to dive into the idea that there is a magic to music, all in and of
Oh,
itself.
absolutely. Yes. And I am also, for the record, I had someone, my partner is a musician, a professional gigging musician. And we were out, they were in a battle of the bands last weekend. And we were out with some of their teacher buddies because they also teach one day at the Napa School of Music. And we're out with some teacher buddies and stuff. And they asked me if I'm a musician. And I had to say, no, not really. Not in the sense that all of you guys are. I sing karaoke. I did play the flute for like 12 years. But I just have always had, my mom was in the choir, guitar. I've always had an incredibly deep love for music. And that was part of the things that drew me to my current partner. But just there is magic. And I've always felt there is a magic inherent in music.
Yes.
So
I
very
also
excited about it.
did choir in high school, junior high and high school, even any kind of singing or dancing in elementary school. I remember
hmm
being very drawn to it. Definitely like a theater kid. I did
hmm
do the theater stuff, and I have
Same.
taught myself piano, and I took some piano classes, but I can't just sit down and play piano. Like I
hmm
have to relearn it. I didn't have my poor ADHD brain did not have the discipline to sit and learn the muscle memory. I can
hmm
learn the muscle memory of crochet, but I couldn't with the music. I very deeply love karaoke. I feel
hmm
like there is a magic to karaoke. It doesn't have to be good, it just has to be fun.
hmm
And it's a really good connecting with other people who also vocally stem on singing.
hmm
Sometimes it just feels good to sing
hmm Absolutely.
or
I
dance or listen to music or yeah.
same thing, all of that. Again, I watching my mom grow up, anytime there's music, she would be humming and singing along, and I learned to pick up that habit. So, yes, I'm that weirdo that's singing along to whatever tunes are playing in the grocery store or the retail mall or whatever it was. Again, dating
I love
it from something else, but no, it's that was a real thing, and it's still a real thing. And you talk about that idea of magic and shared connection of karaoke. That really is, there is something about the energy of being in a room with people who are really enjoying the same thing when it comes to music, whether that's a karaoke, that's a concert, there's anything like that. There is such an energy and an energetic feeling and just a vibrancy to a room that's buzzing with that kind of experience due to the music around it.
I fully agree with you. If anybody was wants to be like, what do you mean magic of music? I would be like, have you ever been to a concert? Have
hmm
you ever been to a live performance? Have you ever sat amongst an audience of tens or hundreds or thousands and experienced emotions similarly to the mass group of humans around you because of this one expression of art?
hmm
Like there is a magic and a connection and an energy to that it's hard to put into words. Maybe we should
hmm
sing about it. No, I'm just kidding.
no, nobody wants to hear us sing about it.
No,
Truthfully,
I'm
bless
not
their
paying
hearts.
any royalties on songs. But I do struggle, to be
hmm
honest. A lot
hmm
of the times I struggle not to break into song when I hear certain phrases,
hmm
particularly when we're podcasting, because I'm like, well, I'm not trying to pay no royalties on no songs over here.
Yes.
But um, there are phrases that will always be a jingle or a tune in my head,
hmm
or, yep, because my brain is definitely wired for music appreciation and it gloms on.
hmm hmm
Yeah.
No, I agree. I just music is a different kind of level. It's like our brains can glom onto it, it connects into it. It's a language of the soul in so many different ways. And what the best thing about music is it's so uniquely varied, just like we are all as people uniquely varied. It's got color, it's got texture, it's got
Culture,
styles and culture. And for something that comes out
influences.
of some very basic tones, the combination you can do with certain sounds is astronomical in the way it's all presented by
It's
different people.
seriously as varied as recipes are for food,
Hmm. Yeah.
And what I love about it is, like you said, it's the language of the soul. So there can also be an ancestral connection, a
Hmm.
cultural connection. Music has been borrowed and influenced by and shared throughout multiple cultures that you get a little bit of this and a little bit of that from everywhere. Now, I think it's good to give credit where credit is due and know the roots of where
Hmm.
your style, your preferred style of music comes from, especially if you're creating it and performing it. But you don't have to be an expert on music history either, just, appreciating the evolution of this art form. Having music accessible for schools, teaching it when kids are young, because
Hmm.
not only is it good for the brain and the soul and the heart, and also it's a physical thing to sing and
Hmm.
to play an instrument. So it's physically good for your body, but it's also mathematical
Hmm.
and, cycle symbolism, rhythms, there's so much symbols, haha,
Hmm.
pun intended, cycle symbols.
Right.
But yeah, there's just so much to it. It's a complex, but it can also be very simple.
Hmm.
And the best part for me, I think, is that it's an expression of emotions too,
Hmm.
a mood.
Absolutely. And yeah, I don't have anything to add to that. Really, it's
Oh.
again the idea of mood and style and the simplicity of it can be as simple or as complex as you want it to be. It can be as simple as a single voice doing a cappella. It can be as simple as a simple drum beat. And you look at cultures and so many traditions are passed down orally, and a lot of those oral traditions were done through song and through rhythm, because rhythm, our bodies are naturally inclined to remember things if they have a pattern to them or a cadence and how they speak and how things are said. So all of that kind of ties back into those primal neural connections
Mm-hmm.
that we have as a species, and it's magical. Yeah, it connects into our internal power in that being, because that moment, because it is that energy of the soul.
He was talking about like how it's natural because I'm thinking like we have a heartbeat.
Hmm.
If you can get in connection with the rhythm of your, body, you can
Hmm.
get into connection with the rhythm of life, and that can make music really,
Hmm.
and helps people make music, I think.
Yeah.
But I also love that it's storytelling.
Hmm.
It can tell a story. It'll set a mood.
Oh, absolutely.
Sometimes I need to cry, or one of my favorite genres of music that I used to tease my
Hmm.
wife because that's definitely like her favorite genre is I called it angry girl music.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes you need to scream and rage, and music will do that for me a lot
Hmm.
of the times. It doesn't have to be a performance. It can just be driving in the car. I love road trips, even
Hmm.
by myself, because I will put on road trip music.
Hmm. Or I used to love different types of ambient music for
Yes,
studying. So
correct.
even like in high school and college, my mom, I would have music on in the back, and my mom's like, "How can you study to this?" I'm all, "No, I cannot study, and still to this day cannot do any sort of thing if the television is on. I can't focus on anything but the television."
Mm,
But if there is music in the background, something about the rhythm of it, and again, especially with ambient, which tends to take your conscious, it's like it takes my consciousness to a higher level, and it just is something that it opens the gates and lets more creativity and inspiration come through. So no, it lets more inspiration and creativity come through, and there's just something about broadening it opens, and like you said, there's study music, there's a whole,
mm-hmm.
you can go on YouTube
Genres.
and find so much lo-fi study music and everything else there.
Lo-fi study music is one of my favorite discoveries, or focus
Mhm.
music. It's interesting how different music or different expressions of music can be for different like brain
Mhm.
hacking or taming of the brain. Because I
Mhm.
also know that people who have anxiety or ADHD, if you look up binaural beats, and it's basically what it means is it's using both ears to hear. It's best if you have headphones on,
Mhm.
but it'll move sound from one ear to the other, like, and you can kind of So there's like this vestibular reaction to, for some people, a calming reaction to having the sound moving through your head, basically, or for back and forth between your ears in a certain way. So it's really interesting brain hacks. And also, if I am having insomnia, you can look up sleep
Hmm.
playlists that
Yeah.
will conquer insomnia. Anything that's very relaxing and meditative. Apparently, I've gone to enough spas over my
Yes.
lifetime that it has programmed some certain kinds of music will
Right.
program relaxation in me.
Hmm.
It can cast a spell.
Oh God, yes. It's so fun with talking about moving on to kind of the idea is, yeah, music can cast a spell, whether, like you said, there's the road trip spell where you are creating the idea, even unconsciously, of, hey, I am doing this thing. And along the way, this process of jury, is talking about the ritual and the idea of the casting of a spell, it's an aspect of it that brings you to your
100%.
destination. We've also had rituals and things where it's been all music. This is one of those things that
Yes.
you and I were talking about offline a little bit. Once upon a time back at again PantheaCon, which no longer exists, unfortunately. But one year they had an elemental ritual that was literally all music, and the music shifted through all of the elements and had different music that related to each of the elements and the sounds of each element in the background of it. And it was one of the most intense experiences that I've ever had as it worked you through this thing together in this group. And it was just the
Mm.
energy that it raised was incredible. Um,
I also remember going to like singing bowl healing
yes.
meditations where it's just
Hmm.
like you could feel the vibrations in the room.
Hmm.
You would just the room would be full of bodies laying around relaxing and just like everybody gets soak up because music isn't just a sound, it's literally a vibration.
Hmm.
It's airwaves, you know. It's I still remember as a kid being fascinated how speakers work. Like
Right.
it's amazing that our ears can do these things and that our technology can do these things.
You were talking about Tibetan bowls and singing bowls and
Oh,
meditations and
the
shared
ritual
experience,
music.
ritual music. Yeah.
Ritual music being a spell, but also it can be a part of ritual where a lot of times if you're doing a working, you want to raise energy
Hmm.
and to release for an intention or a purpose. And singing in a small group or even by yourself,
Hmm.
but or with friends or even in a community, the more voices you're adding, like more vibrations, more energy, more
Hmm.
intention. And singing can be, it could be a simple chant, it could
Hmm.
be you know, a song that everybody knows, it could be one that just learning, it could be around, you know,
Hmm.
but it's a really good way of intentionally raising energy for a ritual purpose.
Hmm.
Or it could be in praise of a specific deity or idea.
Hmm. There's a reason worship music is incredibly popular among many different world religions. That again, there's music that is dedicated to praising a
Yeah.
higher power, and it really helps strengthen that connection between the person who is engaging in it and that higher power.
Hmm.
It's that again, that divine connection, that energetic connection that music creates.
I also know that there are a lot of cities that have their gay men's chorus. So,
Mm-hmm.
like, go out and support your community and go to one of their shows. But I also know that locally, there are someone in my community, in my city, you know, the biggest city close to me, that they're trying to start up a queer folks chorus. So, not just gay men, but also lesbians, trans, non-binary, genderqueer,
Mm-hmm.
any kind of under the queer umbrella chorus, choir. And I just think, if not any time now would be the time to build community where we're raising our voices together and embracing our power of speech,
Mm-hmm.
free speech.
Yes. No, right now my mom is actually involved with the women's chorus
Mm,
in Sacramento and has sung many times with the gay men's chorus and performances and stuff. And same thing, it's slightly different. It's a different, but it's a different subset of community because in that women's chorus, there's a lot of people who are lesbian, queer, and everything else, but you don't have the other voices that go along with the spectrum of full queerness. I'd love to see a queer chorus come
right?
up, but it's really that kind of thing about fight community, like you just
Yes.
mentioned, finding that own kind of community that comes up with this can also be its own kind of magic because now it's opening you up to something else and
Well,
something
and that's
bigger than
another thing.
yourself.
If you want to connect with community over music and you're not a musician or you don't feel
Hmm.
comfortable going to karaoke, find local venues that queer venues, if you
Hmm.
have access to those, who have live musicians come in. I know a lot of some drag queens will sing. Like there
Hmm.
are some drag queens that will sing for themselves instead of lip syncing to other people's music. Now,
Hmm.
that's valid too, and
Hmm.
all their dancing and everything. Another way you can find your and connect with your community is by finding, if you're drawn to music like we tend to, like we
Hmm.
are, you can find ways of connecting with people through music that's not being a musician yourself. So
Right.
I highly encourage that.
Supporting your queer musicians means the
World.
world to them.
Yeah.
Again, speaking from someone whose partner is queer and is a musician trying to survive on this, and not just going and supporting and just kind of sitting there and talking with your friends, but sitting there and listening, paying attention. If you've got someone, you're going someplace for live music, I oftentimes you go there with your friends, and I get this is a little mini rant, but going with your friends, and there's always a need for conversation. But if you're going someplace for live music, listen to the music, respect the
Hmm.
artists, respect what they're saying, and you will find your own magical connection with that because I watch it as an audience member at all of these gigs. The people who aren't paying attention, they'll get like, okay, that was great, you're great. But every once in a while, you'll catch somebody who didn't know, who's never heard of this, they've never experienced it, and they're just caught and they get caught up in the music. And it's an incredible experience to feel and to watch because you get
Mm.
that connection to what's being said, whether it's a song that you know or it's an original piece by supporting a local musician. It's
Yeah.
it really does not only you helping the community and everything else, but you are creating an energetic bond and its own kind of magic itself to experience that newness. Now you are actively doing something that is challenging and different, and that will bring you new knowledge and a new experience. It's
A-
phenomenal.
And I will say, as a neurodivergent human, that it may be possible that this is one of my hyper focuses, or but I have noticed that because, birds of a feather flock together, and,
Hmm.
my offspring and all of that said and done. But to some of us neurodivergent brains, music can mean a very lot
Hmm.
to us. So, I mean, literally, it's in a world that doesn't cater to brains like ours a lot, music can be a sanctuary.
A song can save a life.
Oh,
Literally,
that's
so
so
many
beautiful.
times. There's been so much music that has
Spoken
saved
to you.
me, spoken to
Yeah.
me, told me that I wasn't alone in feeling what I'm feeling, as well as again the idea of bringing this back to magic and the connections that it builds and forges,
Mm.
and that connection gets passed on.
So we were talking about how we have a connection to music and how it can set a mood or,
Hmm.
tame our brain or whatever. But also sometimes like you're in a mood
Hmm.
and you need to put music on to help you process it. Like how many times have you had songs that will make you cry?
Hmm.
Just because I need to cry. Like I am in a mood and I need to get some tears out. Any kind of music that I associate with my father, like, and trust, he
Hmm.
and I shared the love of music, so there's a lot. But like sometimes it'll hit me just out of nowhere. Something will come on and like bam, grief. It reminds me of someone,
Hmm.
or I just need to cry, so I'll put on a particular song that I know that means something to me about somebody or
Hmm.
whatever, or the story it tells is just heart-wrenching. And then again, we were talked about the anger, but like, and joyful,
Hmm.
like make a joyful noise. Like
Right.
you can actually hack your brain,
Hmm.
alter your moods by what you're choosing to put into to listen to
Hmm.
put into your head.
And I'll use music oftentimes when I'm setting the stage for a ritual. When I'm setting the stage for magic work, I have a playlist that I will go through, and that sets the stage. And while I'm doing my magic work, that playlist is off and going. But there again, there's just something about certain albums or something like that that will resonate and connect with you. And my go-to for any time that I am working with any sort of magic, it's almost always Enigma. Ideally, the first two albums, but the first third album is great. But any of those things, I will cycle through the songs, and it's just something about the patterns, the time of life when it hit me, the first time. It's about the same time I was opening it up and I exploring the idea of magic. So you will find something of yourself if you are open to the idea of magic that will spark your curiosity and your desire to go further and will become the backdrop to the working that you do
Yes.
ultimately.
Yeah, it can be very cool to set your whole ritual to music or create a
Hmm.
playlist that is your ritual.
Hmm.
So there would be a song that opened your circle or, created your circle and cast your circle or called in your elements or called in your spirit workers, raised your energy, releases the energy. You could create a whole ritual
Hmm.
that is a playlist,
Yeah.
well, I am the queen peacock
Hmm.
of playlists, I will say,
Hmm.
because much like you had mentioned the ritual that you went to that had music that went through the different elements,
Hmm.
I have made playlists that are for
Yes.
the different elements. Oh, this is an earth song. Oh, this is a water song. Oh, this is a fire song. Oh, this is a full moon song. Oh, this is a new moon song. This is a Saturn song. This is a Venus song. Like I have made so many different playlists that are magical just because I need it to be this one thing or this other thing.
Hmm.
But can I ramble about one of my favorite playlist projects that I have
Hmm.
been working on with my girlfriend?
Yeah.
She and we do a lot of tarot back and forth, with each other, and we have a passion for tarot. So I said, wouldn't it be cool if we had a playlist that we built together, associating two songs with a tarot card? We started with the Major Arcana. One of these days we may dig deeper and go into the other cards, but just so, for example, we would pick the Fool card and we would come up with two songs that would be connected to that card. One would be the upright expression of the card, and
Hmm.
the other one would be the reversed expression of the card.
Hmm.
And essentially, the idea is as we work through, one day we were coming up with two songs that represent the Fool, and then the next day we're trying to come up with two songs that represent the Emperor, and then the following day we're trying to come up with two songs that represent Temperance. But when we fill this whole playlist and we have a spreadsheet and everything
Best way to organize.
about, oh yeah. And
Hmm.
so when it's done, you could go onto your playlist, hit shuffle,
Hmm.
play at random, and give yourself a reading through a storytelling of a series of songs.
Hmm. I love that idea.
Isn't that cool? Like
That's a really cool idea.
we're trying to build a tarot deck with music, but it has to be we're doing it together so that we discuss it and make a connection to the song and from the song to the card. And it's really fun. It's really fun to be like,
Hmm.
wow, this song really makes me think of the Fool.
Hmm.
Every time I hear this song, I think, oh, there's the Fool card popping up. And it's really cool when just the random universe kind of gives you messages that way.
So, just for my own curiosity, what would be a good example of one of the cards that you can think of?
Well, okay,
Because
so
you
the
keep
Fool.
mentioning the Fools. So, do you have that one completed or?
Well, there's an AJR song that's called "100 Bad Days Make 100 Good Stories."
Okay.
So the lyric is "100 bad days make 100 good stories. 100 good stories make you interesting at parties." And so that's to me, like for some reason it connected with the Fool. Like, yeah, you're gonna have a bad day, but like at least you could tell a story about it later and laugh about it later. And
Hmm.
that's the essentially the story that the song is. And it's like that's very Fool-like. Like, you know, for better or worse, go
Jump off the
caution to
cliff
the
and do
wind
it.
and
Yeah.
live your life, and at least you'll have a story to tell.
Hmm. Oh, I love it. I love it.
Yeah. But we have so many now, like,
Hmm.
yeah. But it's a cool. I highly recommend if that piques somebody's interest. It's also personal.
Hmm.
What represents Fool to you would be different because everybody listens to different music. That's why making it as a collaboration between one or two, a coven or whatever, would be
Hmm.
also rad. But yeah, that's one of my little favorite using music as a magical tool moments.
Hmm. I have one very similar to that, only it's more in the queer community aspect. Is I have a playlist that I've created called Queer as Fuck,
Hey,
and it is all queer artists.
I love
And
it.
I've talked to my different friends in the community and said, hey, who are your favorite queer artists or artists that are true allies? So there may be some like Lady Gaga on there who's has a different points identified as bi, but also not, but who's absolutely an ally to queer folk
Hmm.
and everything else. So there's queer folk, there's queer allies, there are people who again sing about the idea of love in its many forms. And it's really
Basically,
interesting to get you go from a hard rock pop song to this country indie song to something else in between to like a rap song. It's called Sugar Honey Iced Tea, which I love so much, by a queer Bay Area rapper. And it's so much fun to hear just a bunch of great music
Pride.
by
Yeah.
queer artists. I love
Mm.
it. And there's, you can find oftentimes like Spotify will have during Pride Month lists like that. So it's a great way to start, but I've definitely built one of my own that I go to back on a regular basis.
You can also start with one artist like Chapel Roan Radio, and
Right.
then it'll play a lot of other similarly,
Hmm.
just for one example, say that I may have fallen down that rabbit hole several times.
Yes.
Because that is definitely one of my current faves.
Yes,
Yeah.
actually, I fully admit I have not updated in a couple of years, so I don't have any Chapel Roan on there right now. So that needs to be corrected.
Yeah. I may this podcast recording be an inspiration to you.
Yes, absolutely. But yeah, no,
Well,
there's just so many different things that you can do with
yes,
music.
as a magical tool.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and hopefully we've given you some ideas of it that it's not. I want to say one more thing too with the nature of music is if you are creating your own, that
Mm,
itself is its own kind of ritual and meditation and practice. And you can, like you said, do that so you can find straight instrumental, find a list of classical music, find a list of something that you can build on and write words to it. And that way you can
mm,
express them as you are creating a ritual. Just all of these things to incorporate magic in it. And all it will do is just add another layer. It's just enhancing your practice. It's
yeah.
making it go a little bit deeper. It's giving it a little more zhuzh and excitement and flair. And
Creativity is one of the best energies
yes.
anybody can channel.
Hmm.
And music, you don't have to be a musician, you don't have to be a scholared artist. You just have to have a heart and soul and a desire to create, whether it's with words, sounds, storytelling, energy shifting, just know that you have access to that kind of magic.
Hmm.
Any human does. And
Right.
you find your niche.
Hmm. And again, if you don't feel you have the ability to create it, there's so much that's already
Yeah.
created that you can
You can
use.
appreciate.
You can
Yep.
appreciate. And for those who are inaccessible, for talking about accessibility reasons, for those who are harder of hearing and may not be able to hear musical beats, you can feel the vibrations.
Yeah.
And that again goes back to the idea of the primal drum beats and things that
Mm-hmm.
didn't have a sound, but you feel it. If you've ever been
Right.
anywhere near a drum circle, you can hear it,
Yes.
but oftentimes before you hear it, you can feel it. You can feel
Mm-hmm.
it in your body. You can feel the motion. All of that kind of thing will help build and focus, and you can direct that energy towards so many different aspects of magic.
And it can be healing.
Oh yeah.
It really is a nervous system calming effect or hypnotizing, even like you were
Hmm.
saying with the drum circles. And again, you don't have to be good at it. So, like
Mm-mm.
karaoke, it just has to be fun. You just have to
Hmm.
go and have fun and enjoy it. You don't have to be an expert. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be good at it. You don't have to be, selling out stadiums
Hmm.
to dive into that magic and be a part of it and let it be a
Right.
part of your experience, of your lived experience. And
Absolutely.
empowering. It can be
Hmm.
empowering. So, and that's only just scratching the surface after
I
this
know.
whole and now we're just scratching the surface of how magical music really is.
No, it's something that's so incredibly integral to the human species and our growth in the species of the human.
I agree. The human
It's human
experience.
experience, yes.
It's a blessing
And
of the human experience.
and I love that it's one of those things that goes across culture. Now again, the way it comes out is unique to each culture, but the idea and the concept of music is cross-cultural. There's
And
no culture that I
shared.
can think of, yeah, that doesn't have some form of music attached to it, from the most indigenous, aboriginal, still up to the highest techie, like rave EDM dance stuff. There is a connection
Broad
through music.
spectrums.
Yes.
Well, that's just like with language, how it evolves and how it's like adopts from other cultures and languages. Music is the same way. Like historically, multiple cultures have inspired to and conspired and been pieces of recipes to create the kind of music we listen to today. Again, I know I mentioned this earlier, but I will put the emphasis here too, is it can be a way that you can connect with your ancestors.
Oh, yeah.
And your cultural heritage. Imagine what their experience of music was like, or how accessible it was or wasn't, depending. So I can be very fascinated by going both ways, the future of music and the past of music.
And for the past of music, it really is a way, if you are working towards opening your worldview and decolonizing some of your own beliefs, is to really go back and listen to the music of other cultures. And again, speaking from a white female perspective, or AFAB perspective, going back and listening to roots music and listening to where the songs came from and how they adapted, and the power of the despair in so much older music, and how jazz was built, how the expression of song and the fact that is so dependent on the people of color, the Black people who are building that at the time as a form of rebellion, and hearing how it influenced everything going up. And it's really,
we would not have rock and roll if there were not rhythm and blues.
absolutely. And just so much tying back in the history of music and how it shapes what's happening now is phenomenal. And artists,
if you are a musician, know your influences and know your groundbreakers and be a groundbreaker, but don't forget where music comes from and who's built up, the collective consciousness of knowledge around that one hyperfocus particular topic.
Yes. Speaking of hyperfocus, is there anything else that we missed in this? I think we have been rambling quite a bit.
We sure have. And we probably have missed something, but that's okay, because that leaves the conversation open for others to pick up.
Yes, please tell us what we missed. Tell us your experiences with music.
Exactly.
We'd love to hear about them.
Thank you so much for listening to the Queer Witch Project. And if you like this topic, feel free to leave some comments and tell us what your favorite music is, or your approach to music, or how it's special to you. We'd love to hear stuff like that. And leave us some thumbs up and stars and stuff. We really appreciate those kind of interactions.
Absolutely. And if there's a topic you'd like to know more about, or an episode topic you would like to suggest, contact us at thequeerwitchproject@gmail.com, or find us on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram with the handle @queerwitchproject. We upload every other week. And remember, queerness is a key to magic.
Be yourself and love rebelliously.
And listen to music.
Dance to the beat of your own drum.
Right. Bye.